The stars stretched endlessly across the black canvas of space. In the vast emptiness, the alien warship HFY floated silently, its silver hull gleaming under the light of a distant sun. Inside, the corridors pulsed with a quiet hum, the sound of advanced technology that humans could only dream of. And at the heart of it all sat the alien commander, known throughout her fleet as Sarilith. She was tall, elegant, with eyes that shimmered like liquid gold. Her long, flowing armor reflected the dim lights of the bridge, giving her a presence that few dared to challenge. She leaned back in her command chair, fingers lightly tracing the edges of the console. Her officers reported countless skirmishes with different species across the galaxy, but none had impressed her. None, that is, except for one small insignificant species called humans. Humans, she said, her voice musical and cold, echoing slightly in the high-ceilinged bridge. They are laughable, tiny, fragile, and hopelessly predictable. I cannot understand why anyone fears them. A young officer, nervous and trembling, stepped forward. Commander Sarilith, there are reports of humans entering our territory. They are small squads, yes, but they move quickly and strike without warning. Some officers are afraid of shadows. Sarilith interrupted with a soft laugh that rippled through the bridge. I will not waste my time on insects that squeak. Despite her amusement, she allowed her officer to continue, more out of curiosity than necessity. They claim that the humans have defeated larger forces on multiple occasions, Commander. Sarilith's golden eyes narrowed, and she leaned forward slightly. Defeated? Perhaps they stumbled upon luck, or perhaps their technology has been copied from others. Either way, it does not concern me. Below the warship, on a small forested planet, humans moved like ghosts. The thick canopy of trees hid their presence from alien scanners, and the air vibrated with anticipation. Marcus, a human warrior, crouched behind a rocky outcrop, his dark uniform blending seamlessly with the shadows. He peered through his binocular visor, observing the alien patrols below. His team of 4 other humans whispered instructions to one another. Each was highly trained, each specialized in a different skill. One handled electronics, one managed explosives, and one was an expert in alien linguistics. Together they were small but deadly. Marcus exhaled slowly, steadying his nerves. Remember, he said, they underestimate us. That is our advantage. We don't need numbers. We need brains. The team nodded, understanding the truth in his words. Humans had never been the strongest species, nor the fastest, but ingenuity, courage, and teamwork had always carried them through impossible situations. That was humanity's strength, and its secret weapon. On the alien command ship, Sarilith's eyes scanned the holographic map of the planet below. She watched the blips of her patrols moving across the forest. The humans had no idea how many eyes were on them, she thought, and a smile curved her lips. Insects scurrying about as if they own the ground. Soon they will vanish. Soon I will see the futility of their existence. But the humans were not merely moving, they were planning. Using clever routes and decoys, Marcus's team shifted silently through the underbrush. Small devices hacked alien sensors, creating false blips that confused the patrols. Every move was calculated, every pause deliberate. Hours passed. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting golden light through the trees. The alien patrols were beginning to grow frustrated. They are clever, one of the alien officers hissed over the communication line. They avoid our sensors and traps every time. Sarilith's laughter echoed again through the command bridge. Clever? Hardly. They are simple creatures playing with fire. Let them run. Let them play. The fire they dance around will consume them. But even as she dismissed them, a small unsettling feeling tugged at her mind. Something about the humans was not like the other species she had faced. Their patterns were unpredictable. Their movements were different. And there was a courage in them that she had not seen before. Night fell over the forest, and the humans reached the edge of an alien outpost. The building was tall, angular, and covered in reflective panels that glinted under the moonlight. Marcus signaled for the team to halt. They were small in number, but their mission was critical, to retrieve intelligence that could turn the tide against the alien fleet. Marcus whispered, "We move fast. Stay silent. And remember, no heroics. We succeed together or we don't succeed at all." The humans advanced, shadows among shadows. Marcus led the way, disabling a sensor with a precise device that caused it to flicker and then go dark. One by one, they moved through the perimeter, avoiding patrols and setting small traps to delay any detection. Inside the outpost, The hum of alien technology was louder. Marcus's heart pounded, but he controlled it. Every movement mattered. Every second counted. He could feel the weight of his team's trust on his shoulders. Meanwhile, Saralith's attention finally focused. The sensors showed anomalies, blips that shouldn't exist. Her golden eyes narrowed. "What is this?" she whispered. "Humans? Here?" Her officers quickly briefed her. "Commander, the humans have infiltrated the perimeter. They have avoided detection until now. They are moving toward the main control hub." For the first time, Saralith's expression shifted from amusement to intrigue. A spark of something dangerous, a flicker of concern, crossed her features. "Interesting," she said softly. "Perhaps they are more than insects." Back on the planet, Marcus reached the control hub. He crouched behind a console, observing the alien guards through the shadows. Using a small device, he hacked into the system, downloading critical files while avoiding detection. His hands moved quickly, every action precise. Suddenly, the lights flickered. One of the guards had noticed movement. Marcus froze, heart racing. But with careful timing, he ducked into the shadows and slipped past the alarmed alien, leaving behind a small, harmless device that would confuse the sensors further. The team regrouped outside the hub, breathing silently but smiling. "Mission success," Marcus whispered. "Now we get out the same way we came in." Above them, on the alien warship, Saralith's eyes narrowed even further. She leaned forward, gripping the edges of her chair. "They have succeeded this far. Humans are unpredictable indeed. Perhaps the tales were true. Perhaps we have underestimated them." For the first time, she felt the need to witness them in person, to see the creature that dared to defy the mighty Zerath Prime. A challenge, she realized, was approaching. A challenge that might prove more dangerous than she had ever imagined. As Marcus and his team vanished into the night, blending with the shadows of the forest, Saralith's laughter was gone. In its place was curiosity and a spark of excitement. A human had survived an encounter with her forces, and that meant something. The stars above twinkled silently, indifferent to the drama unfolding below. But for one alien commander, and for a small team of human warriors, a story had begun. A story that would test courage, intelligence, and the indomitable spirit of a species many had thought weak. And so, the first chapter of their confrontation closed, not with destruction, but with the promise of something far greater. Saralith would watch, humans would act, and the galaxy would soon witness the clash of confidence and cunning, strength and wit, arrogance and humanity. The stars above the planet shimmered faintly, their light reflecting off the metallic hull of the alien outpost. Below, the forest stretched like a dark ocean, thick with trees and shadowy pathways. Marcus crouched behind a fallen log, scanning the perimeter with sharp, attentive eyes. Every movement of the alien patrols was tracked in his mind. Every step, every sound mattered. "This is going to be close," Maya whispered. Lyra, his second-in-command, a human skilled in reconnaissance. Her eyes were bright, but her face showed focus rather than fear. "They are more alert than usual," Marcus nodded. "They expect nothing from humans. That is their mistake." The alien outpost was heavily guarded. Tall towers with glowing sensors rotated silently, scanning the forest below. Alien patrols moved like clockwork, their bodies sleek and armored, their heads glinting under faint moonlight. Yet despite their strength, they could not see what Marcus and his team had learned long ago. Humans were unpredictable, clever and resourceful, he signaled, and the team moved forward, silent as shadows. Small devices disabled sensors in their path, creating false blips that made the aliens think the humans had moved in a completely different direction. Each step was calculated, each pause deliberate. Marcus thought of every previous mission, every narrow escape humanity had survived. This was no different, only larger and more dangerous. Above them, Saralith watched the planet from the bridge of Zerath Prime's forward command ship. She leaned over the holographic display, studying the blips of her patrols. Her golden eyes narrowed as she saw one human signal another, small bursts of light invisible to anyone else but her. "They are moving again," she said softly, her voice like wind through chimes. Unpredictable, clever, interesting. One of her officers, a tall alien with segmented armor, stepped forward nervously. "Commander, they are too few. Surely they cannot challenge our outpost directly." Saralith's lips curved into a faint smile. "Too few, perhaps. But every battle begins with a spark. Watch them carefully." Below, Marcus and his team reached the edge of the outpost. The building was immense, its walls reflective and smooth, stretching higher than the tallest tree in the forest. A faint hum of energy radiated from its structure, filling the air with a subtle vibration. Marcus crouched behind a boulder, eyes scanning for patrols. "Lyra, handle the south tower," he whispered. "Ryan, take the east sensor. I'll check the main gate." Ryan, the team's engineer, nodded. His hands moved quickly, placing a small device that would temporarily scramble the sensor's signals. Within moments, the tower's glowing eye flickered, then went dark. Marcus crept closer to the gate, noticing a small patrol approaching. Timing was crucial. If he moved too early, the alarm would sound. Too late, and they would be caught. He held his breath, calculating each second. When the patrol passed, he darted silently to a shadow behind the gate, using his small device to open the access panel. The lock clicked, and a soft green light confirmed success. Inside the outpost, the hum of machinery was louder. Panels blinked with information in alien symbols, and corridors twisted like a maze. Marcus motioned for the team to follow. Lyra led the way, her movements precise. They avoided cameras, avoided patrols, and moved with careful coordination. Meanwhile, Saralith's interest grew. She had underestimated humans before, she realized, but they had survived this far. Her officers whispered concerns, but she waved them aside. She wanted to see for herself the species that dared defy her forces. Marcus reached the central control hub. The team crouched behind a console, observing alien guards. Their uniforms glimmered under the dim lights, and their helmets reflected Marcus's image. He felt a flicker of nervousness, but pushed it aside. Fear was a tool. Use it carefully, do not let it control you. He activated his device, connecting to the alien network. Files began downloading into the portable drive strapped to his chest. Every second was precious. Suddenly, a guard turned sharply, sensing movement. Marcus froze, holding his breath. The guard's head tilted, scanning the area, then turned again. Marcus exhaled slowly. "Patience," he whispered to his team. "Always patience." The files finished transferring. Marcus signaled to the team, and they prepared to leave. Outside, the forest awaited like an ally, ready to swallow them in shadow. But just as they moved, an alarm blared. Red lights flashed, painting the corridor in warning. "They've noticed us," Lyra hissed. Marcus's mind raced. "No panic. We leave the way we came. Ryan, activate the decoy traps." Ryan pressed a small button, and panels in the corridor burst with holographic duplicates of the humans' images. The aliens fired at shadows, confused and frustrated. Marcus led his team through a secondary exit, slipping into a narrow ventilation shaft. The sound of alien commands echoed through the corridor, but they were gone before reinforcements could arrive. Outside, the team emerged into the forest. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. They had succeeded, though barely. "Good work," he said quietly. "They did not see us. That is our advantage, always our advantage." Far above on Zereth Prime, Saralith watched the events unfold. Her fingers drummed lightly on the console. She had laughed at humans before. She had thought them weak, incapable of strategy or courage, but now she realized they were something entirely different. "They are not insects," she murmured. "They are dangerous, clever, bold, perhaps. They are a challenge I have been waiting for." Her officers looked at her, confused. "Commander?" one of them asked. "I will face them," she said, her voice calm but filled with determination. "I will see the one who leads. I will understand how such small creatures can survive against all odds." Below, Marcus and his team moved silently through the forest. The mission had succeeded, but the danger was far from over. They had proven themselves, but Saralith's attention was now fully on them. The first clash had ended, but the war had only begun. Night deepened. The forest grew quiet, save for the soft sounds of movement from distant predators. Marcus and his team reached a clearing, catching their breath. Lyra looked up at the stars. "Do you think she will come after us?" she asked softly. Marcus nodded.
"She will."
"And when she does, we will be ready. Humans have survived much worse than one alien commander. We are clever, we are patient, and we never give up." The team sat in silence for a moment, letting the adrenaline fade. Marcus thought of everything humanity had endured. Every battle, every challenge, every impossible mission had taught them one thing. Survival depended on courage, creativity, and teamwork. That was humanity's greatest strength, and it would guide them in the battles ahead. On Zereth Prime, Saralith leaned back in her chair, her golden eyes fixed on the planet below. She thought of Marcus, the human who had slipped past her forces, and felt a spark of something unfamiliar. Respect. Perhaps she had misjudged humanity. Perhaps they were more dangerous than she had ever imagined. Her fingers traced the edge of the console. "We will meet soon," she said softly, "and I will see if this species truly deserves the praise they claim." The stars shone silently, indifferent to the struggles below. But for Marcus, his team, and Sarilith, a story of courage, challenge, and confrontation had begun. A story that would test the limits of humans and aliens alike. The first clash was over, but the war was just beginning. And in the heart of every human warrior burned the knowledge that no force, no matter how powerful, could predict what humanity would do next. The moon hung low over the forest, casting silver light on the treetops. Marcus and his team moved carefully, their breaths quiet, their senses alert. Though their mission had succeeded, the knowledge that Sarilith, the alien commander, was now watching them loomed like a shadow. She was no ordinary enemy. She was cunning, powerful, and intelligent. "This is different from anything we've faced," Lyra whispered, keeping pace with Marcus. "She doesn't just want to defend, she wants to understand us, track us, maybe even challenge us directly." Marcus nodded, his jaw tight. "Exactly. That is why we cannot make a mistake. Every move matters. Every decision counts." The team had learned something crucial during their last encounter. Patience and cleverness were their greatest allies. They would not rush into a fight. They would strike only when the odds favored them, or when strategy demanded it. From orbit, Sarilith observed the humans with sharp golden eyes. Her mind was calculating, analyzing every blip, every shadow. She had underestimated humans before. "Never again. They think they can hide in shadows," she murmured, her voice a soft melody that carried authority. "But I will see them. I will face the one who leads. Only then will I understand their strength." She activated the command ship's long-range sensors, scanning every inch of the forest. Patterns emerged, movements became clear, and a strategy began to form. Below, Marcus paused in a clearing, studying the path ahead. The forest stretched endlessly, dense and unwelcoming. He knew that Sarilith would not attack openly yet. She was patient, strategic. That only made her more dangerous. "We need to move toward the high ground," Marcus said quietly. "From there we can observe the outpost and plan our next steps. But we stay hidden. She may be watching." The team nodded and moved carefully through the forest. Every branch snapped, every rustle of leaves was calculated. Humans had learned to move silently, but now it was more than survival. It was a game of strategy against a commander who had never faced a human capable of planning and executing with precision. Hours later, they reached a rocky ridge overlooking the alien outpost. From here, Marcus could see the patrols, the towers, and the faint hum of alien activity. His mind worked quickly, mapping out possibilities. "She's clever," Marcus said to the team, "but every creature has a weakness. Every system has a flaw. Our task is to find it before she finds us." Suddenly, the shadows shifted below. A group of aliens moved with silent efficiency. Marcus froze, recognizing the movements, not standard patrols, but something more deliberate. "She is here," Lyra whispered. "She is watching." Marcus's pulse quickened. This was the moment he had anticipated, though not this soon. He signaled the team to spread out, to remain hidden yet ready. The humans waited in tense silence, eyes scanning every movement. From above, Sarilith had descended in a smaller reconnaissance craft. Sleek and almost invisible, it hovered above the ridge, her golden eyes fixed on the humans. For the first time, she felt the thrill of anticipation. The humans had survived against her forces, but would they survive her personally? The wind shifted, rustling leaves. Marcus noticed a shadow moving faster than expected. He ducked behind a boulder, signaling for Lyra and Ryan to do the same. "Do not make sudden moves," Marcus whispered. "Let her reveal herself." A moment later, the shadow emerged from the trees, a tall figure, armored and graceful, radiating authority and strength. Sarilith had come to see them. Her presence was unlike anything the humans had faced, not just power, but confidence, intelligence, and an air of unyielding command. Marcus stepped forward cautiously, raising his hand slightly to show he meant no immediate aggression. "I am Marcus," he said, his voice steady despite the racing of his heart. "We do not wish for unnecessary conflict, but we will defend ourselves if we must." Sarilith's eyes glimmered, and for a moment there was silence. Then she spoke, her voice calm yet commanding. "Marcus," she said, emphasizing his name. "You and your people have survived where many would fail. You are remarkable. But I must understand why. Why do such small, fragile creatures possess such courage?" Marcus hesitated. He had faced enemies before, but never one who both threatened and fascinated him simultaneously. "We survive because we must," he said finally. "We survive because we adapt. We survive because giving up is not an option. That is our nature." Sarilith considered his words carefully, her golden eyes narrowing. "Adaptation. Cleverness. Courage," she murmured. "I have underestimated you humans. That was my mistake." A sudden motion snapped Marcus from his thoughts. Sarilith raised her hand slightly, and alien energy rippled through the ground, signaling her control over the environment. She was testing, not attacking, yet the force behind her gesture was undeniable. Marcus realized then that this encounter was as much about observation as confrontation. She wanted to see their reactions, to study their tactics, to find their weaknesses. He signaled to his team, "Stay calm. Do not respond until necessary. Observe, then act." Sarilith circled slowly, her presence commanding the ridge. "You think your small victories matter," she said softly. "But I have resources, strength, and knowledge far beyond your comprehension. Do you truly believe you can challenge me?" Marcus met her gaze. "We do not challenge you for power. We challenge for survival, and humans do not fail when our backs are against the wall." Her lips curved slightly, a mixture of curiosity and admiration. "Interesting. Such confidence. Perhaps there is more to your species than I have been told." Suddenly, a group of alien reinforcements emerged from the forest, moving swiftly toward the ridge. Sarilith's eyes flicked to them, and she raised her hand again. They stopped in mid-step as if frozen by her command. Marcus realized that even in her absence from the battlefield, she controlled everything. He knew then that defeating her with brute force was impossible. Strategy, speed, and cleverness were their only weapons. He whispered to his team, "We use the shadows, we use the terrain, and we use their arrogance. She will not expect it." The humans moved like whispers, slipping down the ridge and blending with the forest below. Sarilith's golden eyes followed them, but she allowed it. An experiment, a test of their skill and ingenuity. Hours passed. The humans navigated the forest with precision, avoiding patrols and traps and reaching a vantage point overlooking the alien supply lines. Marcus's mind raced with possibilities. Every step was part of a plan, every decision critical. Sarilith, observing from above, allowed a small smile to appear. These humans were unpredictable, clever, and resourceful. She had laughed at their kind before. She would not laugh again. Finally, Marcus and his team rested in a hidden cave, reviewing the information they had gathered. "She is watching us," Lyra said, "but she is not attacking yet. That means we can plan our next move." Marcus nodded. "Exactly. This is only the beginning. She underestimates our ability to adapt, but she will learn soon enough. Humans are not weak. We are patient, we are clever, and we never give up." Above them, Sarilith leaned back in her craft, golden eyes gleaming with curiosity and determination. "Marcus," she whispered, "your spirit is extraordinary. The day we meet directly will be the day I truly understand humans, and perhaps the day the galaxy changes forever." The night deepened, stars twinkling like distant eyes. On the ridge, in the forest, and in the sky above, a quiet tension filled the air. Humans had survived the first observation, but now they were in the shadow of a commander who would challenge everything they knew. And in that shadow, both hunter and hunted realized the truth. This was not merely a battle. This was a meeting of minds, courage, and willpower. A clash of species that would test limits, strategy, and spirit. The forest whispered around Marcus and his team. The wind carried the faint hum of alien energy, and far above, Sarilith watched, waiting for the day she would finally face the human warrior who had defied her expectations. The first personal encounter had ended. The games had begun, and the human spirit, unyielding, clever, and brave, was ready for the challenge that lay ahead. The forest was quiet, almost eerily so, as Marcus and his team moved through the shadows. Every step was deliberate, every glance cautious. They had survived Sarilith's watchful gaze, and now the time had come to strike in earnest. The alien commander was no longer a distant observer. Her presence loomed over them like a storm cloud, her intelligence and power challenging everything humans had known. Marcus paused at a clearing, crouching behind a large boulder. His team mirrored his movements, waiting for his signal. The alien outpost sprawled before them, its reflective walls catching the pale light of the moon. Towers glowed softly, scanning the forest below, but Marcus had noticed gaps in the patterns. "This is it," he whispered. "We strike carefully. She expects us to run, to hide, to panic. We do none of that. We act with precision." Lyra nodded, checking her equipment. "We move through the shadows, disable their defenses, and hit the control hub. Minimal confrontation unless necessary." Ryan, the team's engineer, smiled faintly. "Then let's confuse them as much as possible. Their technology is strong, but it is predictable if you know what to look for." Marcus felt a rush of pride. Humans were not the strongest in the galaxy, but their strength lay in cleverness, teamwork, and courage. That had brought them this far, and it would carry them further. As the team advanced, a sudden ripple of energy shimmered across the ground, a warning that Sarilith was near. Her presence was unmistakable even without sight. Marcus froze, signaling the others to stop. From the shadows, golden eyes glimmered and the air seemed to hum with power. Sarilith stepped into view, graceful and commanding, her gaze fixed on Marcus. "So," she said, her voice calm yet filled with authority, "you have come again. You survive when others fail. That is intriguing." Marcus stepped forward slightly, keeping his hands relaxed. "We do not seek conflict unnecessarily," he said. "But we will defend ourselves and our people if challenged." Her lips curved slightly, a mixture of curiosity and amusement. "Defense, courage, ingenuity. You are remarkable, human. But do you understand the forces you face?" Marcus met her gaze steadily. "We understand enough to survive. We adapt, we learn, and we do not give up. That is enough." Sarilith studied him for a long moment, then raised her hand slightly. Energy rippled through the ground as alien reinforcements approached silently, controlled by her will. Marcus realized that her strength was not just in combat. She commanded her forces with thought alone. "Watch your step," Marcus whispered to his team. "She controls everything around us. But she cannot predict creativity." With a nod, the team split into smaller groups, moving through the underbrush. Lyra circled a patrol tower, Ryan set small decoy devices, and Marcus advanced toward the main gate. Every step was calculated. Every trap was carefully avoided. Suddenly, a burst of energy shot from a tower. Marcus rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the blast. Sarilith watched from above, testing his reactions. He realized she wanted more than combat. She wanted to see human ingenuity in action. He activated a small device, projecting holographic images of himself in multiple locations. The tower's sensors tracked the duplicates, firing blindly while the real Marcus slipped past. Lyra and Ryan joined him, and together they reached the control hub. Inside the hub was a maze of alien technology. Panels blinked with lights and symbols Marcus could barely comprehend, but his devices interpreted them instantly. Files began downloading into his portable drive, and he motioned for the team to stay alert. The sound of approaching alien reinforcements echoed through the corridors. Marcus signaled them to split again. "We fight only if necessary," he whispered. "Avoid them, outsmart them, survive." Outside, Sarilith observed with keen interest. "They are clever," she murmured. "Cleverer than I anticipated. But cleverness has limits." Marcus noticed a new patrol closing in faster than the others. He signaled Ryan, who deployed a small device that created a temporary electromagnetic interference. The aliens hesitated, their sensors flickering. Marcus and his team slipped past, moving through hidden vents that led to the outer forest. Sarilith's eyes narrowed. She could see every movement, but the humans adapted, moved, and survived. A spark of admiration touched her expression, tempered with determination. She would not let them escape forever. The humans regrouped in a dense part of the forest. Marcus checked the files. Critical intelligence had been retrieved, revealing supply routes and weak points in the alien defenses. This information could turn the tide of the ongoing war. "We did it," Lyra whispered, relief in her voice. "But she is not done. She is learning from us," Marcus nodded. "That is true. She underestimates us, but she is watching. That is a dangerous combination, but it also gives us opportunities. She cannot predict every choice we make." From the treetops, Sarilith descended silently, her movements like a shadow among shadows. Marcus felt her presence again, and his mind raced with strategy. She could appear anywhere, control anything, but she could not anticipate human unpredictability. "Marcus," she said, appearing before him, her form glowing softly in the moonlight. "You have survived my forces, evaded my traps, and even challenged my patience. That is remarkable. But tell me, what is it that drives your people? Why do you fight when defeat seems certain?" Marcus took a deep breath. "Because we must. Because survival is not just physical, it is spirit. We fight because giving up is never an option. That is humanity. That is why we endure." Her golden eyes studied him, and for the first time she allowed herself to smile, not in amusement, but in recognition. "You are unlike any creature I have faced. Brave, clever, and relentless. Perhaps I have been wrong to dismiss your kind." A sudden motion cut through the moment. Reinforcements arrived, closing in from all sides. Marcus signaled to his team, "Prepare for engagement, but remember, strategy over strength. We survive through intelligence, not brute force." The clash began, not with raw power, but with a dance of minds and shadows. Humans used every trick, every diversion, every clever device to confuse the aliens. Saralith watched, guiding her forces with precise commands, but Marcus's team stayed ahead, slipping through the forest like ghosts. Energy blasts illuminated the trees, but no human was harmed. They moved fast, thinking faster, using terrain, shadows, and knowledge to stay one step ahead. The forest became their ally, the darkness their shield, and ingenuity their weapon. Finally, Marcus led his team to a high ridge overlooking the outpost once more. They had survived the encounter, retrieved the intelligence, and avoided capture. Breathing heavily, he looked at his team. "We did well. But remember, this is only the beginning. She will not forget us." Far above, Saralith watched from her craft, golden eyes gleaming. "They are clever, bold, resilient. Perhaps the tales were true. Perhaps humans deserve more attention than I have given." For the first time, she considered the possibility that humans were not weak, not predictable, and not insignificant. They were dangerous, but not in ways she had anticipated. Their danger lay in courage, creativity, and determination. Marcus and his team disappeared into the forest, silent as shadows, hearts racing, minds alive with strategy. They had survived another encounter with the most formidable adversary they had ever faced, but they knew the war was far from over. Saralith's thoughts turned inward. She would meet Marcus again, and next time the battle would not be limited to shadows and diversion. She would see him, face him directly, and perhaps finally understand the strength of humanity. The stars above twinkled silently, indifferent to the battles below. But for Marcus, his team, and Saralith, the galaxy had shifted. A new challenge had begun, a clash not just of forces but of minds, courage, and spirit. The first major battle had ended. The humans had survived, intelligence had been gained, and respect, silent, cautious, and dangerous, had been established between predator and prey. And somewhere in the depths of the forest, Marcus felt the truth of what they had done. They had faced an enemy thought impossible to challenge, and survived. Humans endured, humans adapted, humans never gave up, and Saralith would remember. The dawn broke over the forest, painting the treetops with pale gold. Mist drifted between the trunks, giving the woods an ethereal glow. Marcus crouched on a ridge, scanning the horizon. The night's encounters had tested him and his team, but today promised a challenge unlike any they had faced before. Above, Saralith descended from her craft, moving with precision and purpose. Her golden eyes shone with intensity, fixed on Marcus. She had studied him, tested him, observed him, and now she would meet him directly. Marcus exhaled slowly, steadying himself. "Remember," he whispered to his team, "this is about courage, strategy, and heart. Every step counts." The forest seemed to hold its breath as the two adversaries faced each other. Saralith's presence radiated power, her armor glinting in the morning light. Marcus felt the weight of her observation but refused to show fear. Humans survived by facing the impossible. Today would be no different. "You have survived when many would have failed," Saralith said, her voice calm but firm. "You have cleverness, courage, and determination. But how far can you go? How far can humanity stretch before it breaks?" Marcus met her gaze evenly. "Humans endure," he said. "We adapt, we fight. We never give up. That is why we survive, and that is why you will find us unpredictable." Her lips curved slightly as if amused by his resolve. "Unpredictable, yes. That is your greatest strength. But even strength has limits. Can you truly face me and prevail? Marcus glanced at his team. Lyra, Rian, and the others were ready, silent but alert. We do not fight blindly, he said. We fight with intelligence. We fight together, and we fight for survival. Saralith's golden eyes narrowed. She raised her hand, and the forest responded. Trees shifted subtly. The ground pulsed with energy, and alien reinforcements emerged from the shadows. Marcus's team ducked behind rocks and roots, but he remained calm. The key was not to match her power. It was to outthink it. He signaled Lyra, who activated a device that created multiple holographic images of their team across the clearing. Saralith's reinforcements hesitated, firing at illusions while the real humans moved silently. The dance of strategy had begun. Saralith watched with keen interest. Clever, she murmured. Humans use ingenuity where others would use force. Impressive, but will it be enough? Marcus darted between trees, using the terrain to his advantage. He noticed weaknesses in the alien patrol's formation. Small gaps, predictable reactions, and hesitation when faced with deception. He relayed instructions to his team in whispers, guiding them like a conductor leading a symphony. The humans moved as one, a coordinated force that seemed larger than their numbers. Traps, distractions, and clever maneuvers slowed the aliens. Marcus reached a vantage point, observing Saralith's position. He realized that defeating her directly was impossible, but surviving her encounter and completing their objective was achievable. Saralith's expression shifted. She had underestimated the human's ability to think creatively under pressure. Remarkable, she whispered almost to herself. They are not weak, they are persistent, adaptive, dangerous. A sudden burst of energy cut through the clearing, narrowly missing Marcus. He rolled to the side, signaling Rian to deploy another device. Small pulses of light flashed, creating decoys and confusion among the alien forces. The team advanced steadily, never stopping, never panicking. Marcus knew that Saralith was testing them as much as she was attacking. Every move she made had purpose, and every human reaction revealed something to her. But Marcus had learned from her observations as well. Her patterns were precise, her patience immense, but she relied on logic and control. Human unpredictability could disrupt that control. He motioned for Lyra and the others to flank the alien reinforcements. Using the forest as cover, they approached silently, striking only when necessary and retreating immediately. Their objective was not to destroy Saralith's forces, but to survive, gather intelligence, and prove that humans could stand against her. Saralith shifted closer, her golden eyes locking onto Marcus. You lead with courage and wit, she said. But even the cleverest creatures must eventually face the limits of their strength. Can you surpass them? Marcus did not flinch. Limits exist only if you accept them. Humans do not accept defeat until we can no longer move. The first direct clash came when a patrol unexpectedly intercepted Marcus. Energy blades glowed in the dim morning light. He dodged swiftly, using momentum and terrain to avoid strikes. Lyra disabled sensors behind them, and Rian set small traps that caused the aliens to stumble and hesitate. Saralith observed, impressed. The humans' ability to adapt in real time was unlike anything she had encountered. Their strength was not physical, it was mental, tactical, and relentless. The confrontation escalated, but Marcus and his team used every advantage the forest provided. Fallen logs, rocks, and foliage became shields. Shadows became allies, and every decision was precise. Though outnumbered and outpowered, humans moved as one, clever and unyielding. Finally, Marcus reached a high ridge, positioning himself where Saralith could see him directly. He raised his hands slightly, not in surrender, but in acknowledgement. We fight to survive, he said. We fight because giving up is not an option. That is our nature. Saralith's golden eyes softened for a moment. She had laughed at humans once, thinking them weak. Now she saw the truth. Their strength was not in weapons, not in numbers, not even in technology. Their strength was in spirit, creativity, and determination. A quiet pause fell over the clearing. Even the alien reinforcements hesitated, sensing the tension. Marcus and Saralith regarded each other. Predator and prey turned mutual observers. You are unlike any species I have faced, Saralith admitted, her voice almost gentle. You possess courage, intelligence, and an indomitable will. Perhaps humanity deserves the respect it has earned. Marcus nodded. Respect is earned through action, not fear. We act, we endure, and we never give up. For the first time, Saralith stepped back, allowing the humans to retreat safely. The battle was over, not with destruction but with recognition. Humans had survived her direct presence, outmaneuvered her forces, and proven their spirit. The forest exhaled with the humans, silent once more. Marcus and his team regrouped, checking for injuries and equipment. No one had been harmed seriously. Every move had been precise, every decision calculated. Humanity had survived where many had failed. Saralith watched from above, golden eyes reflecting pride and intrigue. "They are more than I imagined," she whispered. "Clever, brave, relentless, worthy of attention." Marcus glanced at his team, heart still racing but spirits high. "We survived," he said quietly. "And we showed that humans are never to be underestimated." Lyra smiled faintly. "We did it. But she will remember us. She will come again." Marcus nodded. "Yes, but we will be ready. Humans survive because we adapt, because we learn, and because we never give up. That is our greatest strength. That is why we endure." Far above, Saralith's golden eyes followed their retreat. She had come to challenge humans, to test them, and to face their ingenuity directly. Instead, she had discovered a species she could neither predict nor dismiss. Humans were clever, adaptable, and courageous. In her mind, respect had formed where ridicule once stood. The stars above twinkled silently, distant and indifferent. Yet below them, the forest and its inhabitants had changed forever. The encounter between Marcus and Saralith had proven one undeniable truth. Humans, though small and fragile in appearance, possessed a spirit that could challenge even the most powerful beings in the galaxy. As Marcus and his team disappeared into the forest, the first rays of sunlight illuminating their path, the war was far from over, but one battle had been won. Not through sheer force, not through power, but through ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding human spirit. Saralith watched them go, a quiet smile on her lips. She had learned something vital. Humans could survive, humans could adapt, and humans could defy expectation. And in that truth lay a lesson she would never forget. The clash had ended, but the story of humans and their remarkable spirit had only begun.